Guys, welcome back to my channel, Lemonade and Lemons, where we squeeze lemons and sip lemonade. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. And to make sure you stay updated, hit that notification bell. All right, let's jump right into it. I'm finishing up the review of Surviving R. Kelly. This is day 3. It picks back up with Geronda Pace, where leaving off from day 2, she was talking about her friend Dominique Gardner, which she called and had her to come to the R. Kelly house. This is a girl, Dominique Gardner, that Geronda Pace met through MySpace due to their interest in R. Kelly. Now, day 2 also ended up with Michelle Kramer. It ended off with her talking just a little bit at the end about her daughter, Dominique. And the last message that she left for R. Kelly, telling him that if he doesn't leave her daughter alone, he's going to have some problems. Okay, now, Michelle Kramer says that Dominique came to her and told her that she wanted to move to Atlanta. And Michelle said that she couldn't say no because Dominique was already of age, so she just wished her well. Now, Geronda Pace at the time, they were in the same house together, but Geronda Pace ended up leaving, and Dominique was left there alone. Even though they never saw each other, she said that she had enough of R. Kelly after he choked her to the point of blacking out, so she ended up leaving at that point, and it was just Dominique, her only friend in the house, left there alone without her. Now, the former employee that's blacked out that we saw on day 2, this person claims that a family member tried to help Dominique escape. One of the staff members, they did try to help Dominique escape because she would get into a lot of trouble because she was so rebellious. She was thought of as a tomboy. She was actually a tomboy to the point to R. Kelly ended up making her shave her head and dress like a boy to be his little boy toy. So the former employee also claims that Dominique did escape at one point before, and they went out and found her and brought her back into the house. So now Tim and Jonathan Savage comes on, and they said that Jocelyn, we already know about her, we've seen her on many clips of TMZ. Well, she met R. Kelly through him, through Tim, her father, and he realized when she was about 10 years old or so that his daughter could sing, and he reached out to R. Kelly. I mean, it was years later, not when she was 10, but years later. He did end up reaching out to R. Kelly because Tim knew, he knows R. Kelly personally. He was pretty close to R. Kelly. So Jocelyn ended up disconnecting from her family after that back in 2006. Now, she's supposed to be away at college, and when they go trying to reach out to her, which went on for about 3 days, Jocelyn's friend finally comes forward and says that Jocelyn's no longer in college. So the Savages say that they went about 2 years without any communication from Jocelyn. Now, the former employee also says that once that story hit TMZ about Jocelyn, well, R. Kelly started to strategize to fix the situation. He actually put Jocelyn out in the public to be seen by TMZ, and everything she said was scripted. Now, after this Jocelyn situation, R. Kelly shows, they started dwindling. Now everybody's wanting to jump on the bandwagon and say, "Hey, no, we can no longer support R. Kelly." So that's when all of this started. You know, concerts, the protests, and all that. But we'll get into that later. Now, going back to Michelle Kramer, Dominique's mother, she says the first time that she even seen her daughter in so long was on TMZ when she was there with Jocelyn Savage, and that was last year back in 2018. Now, if you haven't seen that clip or any of the clips with Jocelyn Savage, just go on to TMZ's page and Google that, and you should see them there. But in my opinion, when I did see the clip of Jocelyn and Dominique, Dominique, she looked afraid, and you could just see the story. She was frightened. You could just see her telling the story with her eyes, just by the way that she looked into the camera, and suddenly turned away. It's like she just didn't want to be there. She looked like she felt uncomfortable. But anyway, moving on. Um, Kitty Kitty Jones. Now, guys, the only reason why I'm going to touch on this next person here, Kitty Jones, is so that I can give you the complete review of this documentary as if you've seen it for yourself. Because to me, this person here, Kitty Jones, she knew better. She was too old not to know better. Anyway, Kitty Jones was a radio personality from the Dallas, Texas area, and she met R. Kelly at an after party after one of his concerts. Now, her being this personality and a part of the production of the party, she felt it necessary to introduce herself to R. Kelly because that was a part of her job. Now, she says that he asked her right then and there her age, and she told him that she was in her 30s, and he ended up slipping her his telephone number, his cell number, whatever. So, anyway, after that, Kitty Jones quit her job and moved to Chicago. She says that R. Kelly was always telling her how much he loved her, and she thought that this was real love. So she thought that R. Kelly and her were indeed boyfriend and girlfriend. So she decided to move to Chicago. And she says that she was so deep into believing this that she had a problem with anybody who said anything negative about him. It was on and popping if anybody said anything negative about R. Kelly. Now, Kitty Jones ended up visiting a friend. This is after she's long moved to Chicago, so she ends up back in Dallas visiting a friend. And her friend asked her, had she seen the sex tape, which she hadn't seen it, but she ended up Googling it and recognized the girl in the tape as the same girl he just recently introduced her to not too long ago. She said that she called R. Kelly to tell him what she found out, and he became so outraged and told her to get her ass back home. And she said that he ended up beating her in the car after picking her up. And she was so frightened and afraid and didn't want to see him angry. She did assure him, she apologized to him, she assured him that she would not tell anybody. And she kept apologizing. She said she kept apologizing to him to get him to calm down. Now, she also claims that anytime R. Kelly was upset about anything, he would take his frustrations out by physical violence. So that's why she was saying that she was just apologizing, trying to reassure him that she wouldn't tell anybody. She's sorry. So there you have that. Now she does claim also that she had to ask permission before doing anything, like most girls are saying. You couldn't even watch TV, and the only shows he ever watched was those with young girls in the program. Now, the former employee comes back on and mentions some of the punishments that the girls would endure. The former employee thought that these bitches, quote unquote, were crazy. They said that they would get up and kiss R. Kelly in the mouth one after the other. When he walked in the room, they were confined to their room or on the tour bus. Their devices were taken from them if they got out of line, and some of them were even spanked. And the former employee said it was just all sick and twisted. Now back to Kitty Jones. Now she goes on further to say that she would go without food and no communication, and after realizing what he'd done to her because she told him she was leaving, he made her a part of his show. She was the girl in the cage. If you don't remember, go look that up. She was part of the girl in the cage during his concerts as well as literally too. But anyway, she said that a part of the show was to have her to sign a contract before the cage scene, and during one of the shows, he told her that he was going to be making her sign a contract when they got back home. Now, remind you, Kitty was playing a chosen member from the audience. No one was supposed to know that she was a part of the production. He would just go grab a girl out of the audience. Everyone around they doesn't know. They're just thinking that they're just like them, just the next person in the audience. So that's how she was involved in that. So she also said that sex with R. Kelly often involve one or two girls, sometimes even three, and it started to become humiliating and degrading. And she said her last days with him, she had to fight with herself to leave. She made it to the airport and she told herself if he picks up the phone when she calls, she's going to turn around and go back. But he never answered. God, that ain't nothing but, oh goodness. So that's how her story ended. Now, back to Michelle Kramer. She's in LA right now. She's been recorded in an SUV, and she's looking for her daughter Dominique. And when she gets there, she has the front desk to call up to the room, but Dominique refused to come down. Now the hotel manager ends up taking Michelle up to the room with production and all. And Dominique answers the door in shock, but still would not let her mom in because she said that Jocelyn was there. Now, Michelle pleads with her daughter to come home before leaving, and as she has already left the hotel, management runs outside and finds her to let her know that Dominique wants to speak with her. Now, they talk for a short minute, and we see that Dominique is crying uncontrollably because Michelle constantly tells her not to cry. So they end up setting up a meeting time in which Michelle will return. And when Michelle does, she and production are met by hotel management to meet in his office. And they're telling her that Dominique says that she told them that Michelle is not her mother, and if she continues on and if she did not leave, the police will be called for her trespass. Now, she tried calling Dominique, but Dominique hung up on her, and she did end up reaching back out to her. Dominique ended up reaching back out to Michelle, her mom, and they plotted to meet up in the hotel bathroom lobby where Dominique ended up escaping that day from R. Kelly's grave. Okay, now moving on to Azriel Clary. She's the daughter of Alice and Angelo Clary, and they say their daughter was picked out of a crowd at one of R. Kelly's concerts in which they had attended, and she was picked because R. Kelly liked the way that she sang. Now, the parents, Alice and Angelo, found out later that Azriel was secretly texting back and forth with R. Kelly. Now, they did disconnect, just to backtrack, the parents ended up disconnecting with Azriel during the concert because she was escorted. He just did put her back into the audience, but after the show, she exited the backstage. So during that time, this is pretty much what they're saying. He had time to make communications with Azriel, their daughter. So they did end up finding out that she was secretly texting back and forth with R. Kelly, and she also went off on her own to secretly meet at a hotel with R. Kelly. Now, after finding out about this, both of the parents of Azriel left work and went to the hotel where they were told she was alone with R. Kelly. And when they got there, they did see Azriel's car and R. Kelly's tour bus. But at the front desk, they were told that there was no one at the hotel by that name, Robert Kelly, I guess. So the security was called because Alice, the mom, said she began knocking on doors because R. Kelly had like 2 floors of room. So what happened? Azriel ends up coming down, and she was hysterical because she claims that her parents were messing her interview up and her audition opportunity to be this great superstar. So she fought them for that, and after arriving home, they could clearly see that Azriel was fascinated with R. Kelly by now. She's searching everything about him online, and while they're still trying to get through to her, she told them if they continued on, she would leave. She threatened to leave several times. So they agreed to let her work with R. Kelly, but not without supervision. So they started taking turns. The parents started taking turns as well as her sister Isis. They began taking turns with watching over her and escorting her on these different episodes that she had with R. Kelly. And the sister Isis more than likely became a permanent fixture over watching out for her because she even started traveling with her to different locations with R. Kelly. Now, Isis says while traveling with R. Kelly, you couldn't do nothing without his permission. Well, she says that the other girls couldn't do anything without his permission. And she said she woke up one morning and her sister was gone, and she went asking around, and R. Kelly's nephew told her that they had left. Now she finds Azriel and end up playing tug of war with R. Kelly because he wouldn't let her leave the room, and Isis ends up threatening R. Kelly, telling him that she would call the police and accuse him of kidnapping if he did not allow his sister to leave. So she says that R. Kelly at that moment, that same moment, told his camp to get rid of her. And they ended up snatching her up, put her in a van, and dumped her in a back alley. Now, y'all, if this don't sound like a scene from a movie, I don't know what it is. Now, she ended up calling her parents to get her another hotel room, but she didn't tell them why. She didn't tell them what had happened. She just told them that she needed another hotel room. And my thought there is, wouldn't the parents question, well, why do you need another hotel room? What's going on? That's just in my opinion. But anyway, Alice and Angelo, they did stop hearing from Azriel, and Isis finally told them what had happened. And she claims, as she was searching for Azriel, she noticed that there were buckets in the corner of each hotel room, and these girls had to urinate in these buckets. Now, is it me? But I always thought, and from what I've seen, they do have restrooms in each hotel. So that bucket thing, having to urinate in a bucket, that's kind of suspicious because if you want to go back and check out Geronda Pace's book, I'm not going to mention anything because I don't want to intertwine it with what I'm doing here and then that. But she mentions something about urine collection. But just go ahead and check out her book. But anyway, their daughter was now like 18 by this time. Azriel, she's 18, and they never heard from her again to this day. And Alice says that an anonymous person did reach out to her to put her in touch with the Savages because now they're going through the same thing. Now, both the Savages and the Clarys, they have filed a welfare check to be done, but each time there's nothing that can be done because if no one answers the door, then the police can't just knock down the door. So nothing was ever done in each situation. Now, the former employee also comes back on and says that R. Kelly has friends within the police department, so he's always tipped off if a welfare check is even going to be done. Now, they also mentioned that Azriel was his main girl, and she was the one that R. Kelly spent most of his time with. And R. Kelly also had what he called a trainer that also slept with all of the girls. Now, the former employee also says that all the girls were not kept confined in the house because R. Kelly had like a preference. He had a particular girl that he was more interested in. The former employee says that if you had something going on for yourself, um, you were out there, you were making money, or doing your thing, you had a business, a job, I guess, whatever, where you were able to come and go as you please. But if you were naive, weak-minded, you know, easy to be trained, you were not allowed to leave. So that's the preference that he had. Weak-minded, those were the ones that were confined to the house. Anybody else, go-getters, you were able to come and go. So here again, Alice and Angelo, they states that they learned more about their daughter Azriel, even though they hadn't talked to her. They found out through an app that all of them shared that Azriel, 17 at the time, had sex with R. Kelly the first time she met him. And they knew that at one point she wanted to leave, and she did end up escaping from R. Kelly's grasp, but she was also caught and brought back to the house. Now, the The next survivor victim, Asante McGee, um, she claims that R. Kelly also wanted weak-minded girls, and she herself started dating R. Kelly back in 2014, and she says that he was just like a high for her. And she trusted R. Kelly because he told her right off the top that he did have other girls. And she said she respected him for that because she was married before. She was in an abusive relationship to where her husband was always cheating, lying, and all this kind of stuff. So for R. Kelly to come to her and tell her off top that he did have other girls, well, she was completely amazed by that, and she began traveling back and forth. And she said within 2 years she started seeing some changes, and he wanted her to move in. So she ended up moving into the house, and then it goes on to show her giving a tour throughout the home that she lived with R. Kelly, her and the other girls. Now she comes up to this room that they call the black room. That's what he considered to be the black room, where everything's black, the curtains, the bedding, everything. And she claims that this was the most degrading room ever. She becomes upset. You see her visibly becomes upset to where she has to leave the room. She said that she never imagined that she would even be back there, but she's there giving us the tour. She said that it was that room you would see and experience the most despicable things ever in that room. And she said that staying not too far from the black room in order to get R. Kelly's attention, because of course, like they all say, you have to get his permission before you do anything. She demonstrated how she would have to stomp on the floor because she's upstairs, he's downstairs, so she would have to stomp on the floor in order to get his attention. And she said sometimes it went hours before she could even get his attention. Now, after all of this, um, protests began to happen, and now they've summoned up a group of people across the U.S. to where they're now going outside of whatever concert that R. Kelly is having in whatever particular city. They're staging a protest. Now this becomes worldwide to where I mean more and more people are joining to where now it's just a major thing now. If R. Kelly is getting ready to do a show and they hear about it, protesters are there. They're even going so far as to contact the venue to have the show stop, and they have been pretty aggressive with this, and they have seen some positive things happen behind it. That they are able to reach out and have these shows stop just by contacting the venue themselves. Not even the protest. See, if there's a protest, but sometimes it doesn't even take a protest. It's just them reaching out to the actual venue and saying, "Hey, look at this." Just like it was mentioned in the documentary, to where Tom Joyner, he's a great DJ personality where he has several syndicates across the U.S. And it just took one of these people within this group to reach out to him and say, "Hey, look, this is what's going on. Could you stop playing R. Kelly's music?" And he was like, "Done." So that's how powerful this group has become. They have become very powerful, and they still exist to this day, and they're still going on, carrying on with the things to hashtag mute R. Kelly. Okay, now there's Faith Rogers. This is the next survivor victim. She's 19, and she finds herself in a relationship with R. Kelly back in March of 2017. Now, she says that he was very persistent when she met him, and it was also to the point to where she ended up flying out to New York to see him after one of his shows. Now he did end up putting her up in a room, and she was awakened by someone not knocking on the door, but pounding on the door, pounding. So she said, although they did end up having sex that night, which it was consensual, she said she was intimidated the whole time because he was very demanding, and she even realized that he was recording her. Now, 2 months later, it's the end of the year. She say that she flew to Dallas for a concert where R. Kelly ended up revealing the girls. The girls were revealed to her. Now she goes downstairs and sees Jocelyn. She says Jocelyn jumped up and kissed him like a puppy, like a robot. And then when he left the room, she just fell numb. When he left, she walked away back in February. And after that, after seeing all of that, she reached out to the Savages, and the Savages told her that has she been checked out by a doctor, and she asked why, and the Savages tells her because our daughter Jocelyn has been tested positive for herpes. She has herpes, so she ended up going to the doctor, and she has tested positive for herpes, and this is where she sues R. Kelly. So we have heard of her in the news. She sues R. Kelly for not telling her or disclosing that he does have the herpes virus. Now, R. Kelly denies having any herpes. She says that he denies it, and he has denied it to the public. So, yeah, guys, that's pretty much it with that. Like I said, the hashtag movement, it has begun and it's in full force to this very day. Um, I just feel like I feel sorry for a lot of these women, except for Kitty Jones, because she was old enough and she was too old to not know and not get out of it before it went any further. Um, R. Kelly, I feel like what we know about him, this was done to him, and I believe that. And I'm not excusing his actions at all, but this was done to him, and I think the things that he were doing to these young women, he's only duplicating or replicating what was done to him. He was only 6 years old when he was molested by his family member. So his family member, R. Kelly, not knowing what to do at the age of 6 years old, his family member is telling him, is being demanding and intimidating. So these are the same things that R. Kelly is doing to these young girls. And the only thing that I see, we would have to agree that R. Kelly is mentally unstable because of what happened to him as a young child. That's where all of this stems from. He saw it be done to him, so it happened throughout the years till he was about 13, he says. So this particular behavior is like like learning. It's part of his learning. So he sees these things to be okay because he learned them at a young age. And that's just to say, the man, yes, he is mentally unstable. And I won't even call him sick. He's just mentally unstable for the simple fact that he was brought up this way. His mind was controlled this way. He was taught this life. So that's where it all comes from. His music, what he talks about in his music, that's where all of this comes from. So yeah, guys, that's the end of day 3 and surviving R. Kelly. And I hope you enjoy the reviews that I've given you over the past few days. And if you haven't checked out the review 1 and 2 that I've done, just go ahead and scroll up or scroll down, however that go. And thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. And if you like this video, go ahead and thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to stay updated on all the videos that I do upload, hit that notification bell. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.